Hello everybody, how are you going? Welcome to the ice-beard surfers of Lake Superior. Something that just seems completely ridiculous. Yes, Canada has the most coastline in the world, but by no stretch of the imagination do they feel as though they're renowned for their surfing, let alone surfing in sub-zero conditions and on the lakes.
I heard of Surfer Nim.
Yes, he has the world's most epic beard in the winter.
Wait, so you've actually seen him?
Yes, stopped on the side of the road in a really bad storm because I was like, there's this man out there surfing. What is happening?
He comes out of the water and it's like frozen beard.
We've got some pretty extreme people up here, but he's one of the most extreme people.
He's like a local legend. He takes care of everyone.
I think somebody almost died and he saved them and on his surfboard or some shit like that. My understanding is that he literally just lives in the water.
What did we just witness? There is so much already that they've teased us with, but just even then finishing that little bit there, just jumping off, I don't know, some kind of rock formation there with it completely frozen over, with two guys just having tridents in their hands. I have no idea what is going on. One looks like they want to kind of get the other, but then he releases it. They just seem like they are completely crazy in a good way. So even though it was a completely ridiculous sentence, at the same time, I think his summary of them being the most extreme of all the extremes in the extreme situation just makes sense. Surfer Dan. What? Michigan, okay.
Morning. How's the sky look out there? Let me check the forecast.
Still building.
Wind chill, 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
7?
Yeah, it looks like you're probably going to be bearding today, dude.
What?
Panadol Rapid. Care starts here.
There. Let me check the forecast.
Still building.
I don't think he's real.
Alright. Michigan, oh, look at that.
Morning.
It's cold.
How's the sky look out there? Let me check the forecast.
Still building.
Wind chill, 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
7?
Yeah, it looks like you're probably going to be bearding today, dude.
Beating?
I guess everybody kind of thinks they know Surfer Dan. Myself, Hardcore Dan, Surfer Dan, Psycho Dan, Late for Dinner Dan, whatever you want to call me, Dan. Do they really know me or do they just know of me? Dan Solo. Surfer Dan Squatch. I gotta find my pants, Dan. My name is Daniel. I live in Marquette, Michigan. It's the biggest town in the UP. Man, I sure love living in my hometown.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Interesting.
A Yooper is someone from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Born in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Someone who loves the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My friend Alan's staying here right now, catching waves, ice bearding, doing his thing. And I have my dog, and I have a lot of friends, and I'm really grateful for that.
All right. The fact that he even said and started off the entire thing like, yes, it is 7 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what? I don't know. I can never remember Fahrenheit. Gonna have to say like minus 12? Oh, that wasn't that bad of a guess, but no, minus 14 degrees. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. Yes, there was wind chill involved, but going surfing in minus 14 degrees. I mean, it certainly looks as though it should be about minus 14 degrees, but even the fact that you were just glamping / caravanning around in minus 14. Yes, they had doonas and blankets and everything out the wazoo, sleeping with a beanie on, but then he also just didn't have a shirt on. So these guys are kind of just the Wim Hof method of surfing. They're just absolutely going out there in any conditions possible. Of course, keeping the boards inside, keeping them nice and warm, so to say, keeping their best friend by their side, and the dog, of course, as well. But man, just even all of the different names that people apparently have for him, just, do you really know him? Have you only heard of him? Have you seen him, like the original women said, just out in some random ridiculous storm? All of those things where you go, is he kind of just like the Loch Ness of Lake Superior, up in the up? Speaking of which, I just needed to come back to this frame because the black and the white and the blue threw me off a little bit. But oh yes, that's right, because Michigan is separated like that, isn't it? By Lake Michigan, funnily enough. And I believe that he said he came from Putin, which I guess, it's not up here, but it's certainly north in terms of the lakes. You're not going to be getting much taller, especially not in the USA. What I thought when they originally were talking about it was this little bit here, but no, that is a completely different area altogether and not connected to Lake Superior.
I have my dog, and I have a lot of friends, and I'm really grateful for that.
Even just the fact that they call it ice speeding. It's
so cold right now. There's waves breaking over the wall over there right now. Splashing over.
Goodness,
There's waves, baby. Smokey, you ready? Yep. Come on. Up there. Attaboy.
Where's the dog going? Surely
We can't see the bottom of the lake. We don't really know what's in there. We think we know what's in there. And I know the ocean has way more life in it. It's older and everything, but there's also mysteries in the lake. There's magic, spirit beings, there's folklore. There's grandfather turtle at the bottom of the lake moving around.
Interesting.
This is where the ice beard started for me, right here. I started surfing this spot with the wetsuit, and then I noticed I started to get icicles on my beard. And it made me feel like I was a kid again when you take a shower before school, you're walking to school and your hair freezes, but it was on my face. And
he's just saying things that I don't have any experience with. Going from that level of ice beard, which we saw before, which I was going, wow, that's crazy. You see that in kind of Antarctic exploration, but not that other one. Look, what am I even looking at? You've got, 5 kilos of ice on your head. That's a serious workout. And then even almost dangerous. Like if you had those turn around, or you look down, or I don't know, I guess they would snap off. I can't imagine that they're that solid, but still, the one on the eyebrow, I don't even know half of them if they're falling off or what it is, but my goodness. Oh, it is just so ludicrously cold for that to be freezing. I mean, it's not going to be salty water, that's why it's also freezing as well, but regardless, the fact that the lake must be just able to move enough to not freeze. But as soon as it latches onto a wetsuit, it just goes. And I just had to listen to him say it again because it just still blows my mind. The fact that he said, if you take a shower before school and then you walk to school on a cold winter's day, your hair will freeze. It makes sense, but that is something that I've never even dreamt of, let alone heard of or anything like that. It's a completely different world, and like I said, it's not even that north, not in the grand scheme of Canada and even the world. Like, yeah, it's north, but not that north, and you're still dealing with these effects.
And then I noticed I started to get icicles on my beard, and it made me feel like I was a kid again when you take a shower before school, you're walking to school and your hair freezes, but it was on my face. And I had this vision to grow the ice beard in the wetsuit and then cut out of the wetsuit and surf naked. And the ice beard would be so big that it would cover my private parts. Through the ice surfing and the beard, this media thing these days, and learning how to use the internet a little bit, it's really sort of exploded.
Wow. I've tried it on the surface. God.
I shaved my beard for next year, so the focus is on Alan's ice beard this year. Man, he's got a great ice beard.
Look at it! What am I looking at? I guess that does then explain the previous photo, which I was so entranced by, just going, how did he get it that long? But no, I guess if your beard is going to be longer, it will be able to create more formations like that. That is outrageous. And the fact that they can grow it, I guess if you just out there for long enough, and you probably could manufacture it as well, but if you were just out there for long enough, it just keeps condensing on itself. It's just outrageous. And then, like I said, that's just so much weight on your head. That has to be surely 10 kilos or something. I mean, I don't know, it's a bit hard to tell because obviously ice does expand, and it looks like there's a lot of air in that ice, but surely it just would feel so rock solid, even the point where, if you have a lot of hair around your neck, you're not really going to be able to move your head much. And then also just briefly coming back to what he was talking about before, really, this entire thing is just blowing my mind. I never would have thought that that was remotely possible, let alone even just dreamt it up in the first place. Just the fact that he's talking about even cutting out of the wetsuit and then going surfing with no wetsuit. These guys are just so used to the cold. They've got mittens on their wetsuit. It certainly shows you what is kind of required to be surfing in minus 14, or I don't know, would you get colder? Surely the lake's going to be warmer than minus 14. And I guess it would have to, especially because it's a freshwater lake, it's going to be freezing over at minus 14. I believe they said it's about 2 is what I've heard before. But either way, it's just cold. It's just cold for anyone. But apparently these guys can just tolerate the cold. I'm sure they still recognizing the body shock and they might have some kind of adrenaline rush out of it, but it's still going to be cold.
I saw Dan ice bearded up. He called me up. I hadn't seen him in years. He goes, do you have your beard still? And I said, yeah. He sent me that picture, and I was just like, I got to do this. You know, he's just like, get up here, man. We're going to bully him with your beard.
What?
I don't know. I'm glad to be back. Every time I get a chance to come back and surf, like, I just love to. It's like a Garden of Eden, kind of, except like just made of snow and ice. I didn't realize how hard the lakes are to surf because it's no salt in the water, so the buoyancy's a lot less, but it gets really fun. It's a real wild thing getting in the water and then feeling that water first time every day, like that first hit.
Look at it. That is something that I never would have even thought of once again. Just this video continues to blow my mind. Yes, of course, the lakes are going to be more difficult because of the salt water content being removed. And I guess to what percentage are the lakes that much fresher than salt water, or what percentage are the oceans salty in this part of Canada? So if you were to compare them directly, how much more buoyancy or less buoyancy would you have? At least they are seemingly using quite large boards, probably because they have to even stay afloat. But just looking at this scene here, it just doesn't really compute. It's just so juxtaposed compared to everything else you've ever seen regarding surfing. It's usually perfect Hawaiian, Fijian, Australian, whatever you want to be calling it. Just perfect sand, perfect skies, crystal waters, but this is just not that. And I guess that's where they're saying they're so intrigued by it. They love the stories around the lake as well, but even just the act of just being different, I'm sure, just excites them as well. Like you said, it's so unique, but there it is as well. The photo that first intrigued me to just even watch this video, because I was just blown away by the fact that that was apparently not a render, or I don't know what else it would be if someone put just glue in their hair, but no, it's ice. And the fact that he's got long hair and a long beard, where Dan seemingly only has, well, currently only has the short hair and shorter beard, that is just a full perfect, I don't know, alien representation. If someone said he isn't from this world, you'd go, fair enough. And honestly, these guys kind of aren't.
Yeah!
It's a big wetsuit. 6 mil or something ridiculous.
Surfing's a weird thing because it's sort of a selfish thing. You're enjoying this beautiful magic place, so you kind of want to guard it, but at the same time, it feels so good. Me as a person, I want to share that feeling.
God.
First time I surfed, I was living in Okinawa, Japan, and we stopped in Waikiki on the way to Michigan, and I caught a wave with the boogie board, and I was like, oh, this is the best feeling ever, and instantly I was addicted. Then we came back to Michigan, and I saw the waves. So now I had this new thing called surfing in my mind and in my heart to apply to our local waves. I kind of sort of gave up on school for the life of the lake. I drifted away from surfing for quite a while, and now that I'm back into surfing, it's become my medicine. I quit drinking, I got back into surfing. Had I not, I would probably be dead or in prison, because surfing has saved my life.
That's a hell of a statement there, isn't it? Just to go, he didn't even grow up surfing. He was living in Japan, and he had this moment where he just went, this is such an awesome feeling. And then your entire world opens up. When you're coming back home, you're going, wow, I never looked at that lake as a resource of enjoyment, medicine, or whatever you want to be experiencing it as. No, you can just expand your worldview and go, I don't have to be in Japan to be enjoying what I'm now loving. I can just go out there, and yes, it may be different because I can't imagine that you're going to be surfing lakes in Japan, especially not like this in minus 14 degrees. But even just to have that home love now, you can just completely change your whole point of view of the lakes. They go from being this, I mean, I guess unless you were sailing them, just this object in the middle of nowhere that kind of blocks your general day-to-day path. It's cool, it's there, but it doesn't really do much for you. And then you just have it as an incredible resource. Like you said, surfing can be a very selfish sport. You know, people discover these awesome spots, but they don't ever really want to tell people about them because they love how remote they are. They love how they get it to themselves. And yes, there's going to be some level of camaraderie, and yes, you take that wave and I take this wave and chatting while you're waiting for the waves. People love that part. But so many surfers travel the world just looking for the one remote location that no one's really found before, they've never heard of before, but it just has the perfect break. And if that is in the middle of Lake Superior, in the middle of Michigan, or if that's in Japan, or in somewhere in the Pacific Islands, wherever it may be, there's certainly a level of selfishness to it.
Hi, everybody. Come say hi to them. Say hi to the pigeons, dude.
There's pigeons.
Hey, pigeons.
Fly around a little bit. There they go. There they are. Come here, babies. Okay, let's go get some food.
What? I'm so
What's
confused.
up? We got a crew.
I know, they were in yesterday.
Hold on, feel this.
Oh, I hate it.
No,
Just let me warm up a little bit. Okay. I didn't know if you were around here anymore. Come on in. We're sitting at the counter. I'm gonna get steak and eggs.
Surfer Dan comes here about 3 or 4 times a week. I'd say this is his spot. I think it's crazy that he surfs in the winter. It's so cold in the summer in the lakes, I can barely get in the lake. I can't imagine how cold it is in the winter.
I mean, he doesn't have like a specific job. He kind of just works on his own. I don't know, he's kind of just like a free bird, just kind of surfs and finds jobs here and there, I think.
That just took me a moment to understand what was going on there because my brain couldn't process why I wasn't seeing just a massive patch of fog. And then I saw the flecks of it almost didn't look like glass.
Surf?
It looked like there was too soft for the glass, like there's an acrylic layer, or I don't really know what I'm looking at there, but it's definitely double glazed to some degree, whatever it is, and it totally makes sense. But then it really just gives more context to what this guy is doing. Like he's standing, 3 foot up in snow, you can see everything, the caravan, the trees, they're just covered in icicles. It's a cold place, and even the locals were going, I can barely get in the lakes in summer, so I do not know and understand how you can possibly do it and surf in the winter. I mean, at least surfing is a little bit more physical, so you do get a bit more body heat than just standing, or maybe just light swimming in the ocean or in the lake at this regard. It does then make me wonder though, what is the temperature fluctuation between summer and winter for, I guess, the surface water of Lake Superior, not the deep water, because the 500-year cycle of Lake Superior, I can't imagine warms up too much. That's why it's a constant 2 degrees, where the surface surely has to change to more like 2 to 10. Is that completely outrageous? I mean, it's such a massive body of water, but then it has such a large surface area as well, so it's going to be a massive heat sink. I would love to know what the difference is, because 10, for a lot of people, is going to be cold. Even the local Canadians, I can only imagine that getting in the water, because water is so efficient at removing your body heat, it's going to be feeling very, very cold, let alone 2 degrees, then wind chill.
Everybody's got different skill levels and bravery levels, and it can be very dangerous. So being comfortable in these positions and knowing what's happening can really help save your life. When the fire chief told me that I'm the most valuable guy in the water during rescues, I agreed with him.
Okay.
Rescued at least 3 people I know of that for drowning.
I've saved a lot of people. Last summer, I was out at a little inland lake, and there was a raft where all the kids were playing. The moms are on the beach talking, and I see a kid struggling right in front of everybody, but nobody sees him. So I jumped on this kayak and I paddled straight to him. He went right under, and I reached down out of nowhere and I picked him up and put him on the kayak. He would have drowned right in front of everybody. I'm not always looking, and I can't save everybody. When it happens, that makes me feel good, that I helped someone live to have another breath. Hey, you guys should get in over there where it's beautiful, Alani. Where it's beautiful over there with the trees and the water and the sand.
Over there?
Yeah, over here.
What? There's more of them. Why is there more of them? Is it insane? Woo! Nice. Fair play.
When I go surfing, sometimes I'll get so cold and so hypothermic that I'm convulsing. That activity itself makes me really appreciate normal everyday life that gets boring or depressing to me.
Once again, fair enough. From his entire story of, well, that instance to saving the kid or multiple people just by kayaking or surfing or whatever it may be, there's plenty of positive experiences that you can take out of this. But man, does it take maybe not a toll on the body, a toll on the body in the moment, that's for sure. Just trying to generate that much energy and that much heat and keeping the body warm would be a serious amount of energy expenditure. Even like I said, the fact that I've never seen a wetsuit, I don't know if it's part of it or not, but with mittens or gloves in the end, it says a lot to me, that's for sure. And I would love to know what kind of thickness are they, because they look thick. You can kind of see them in there, and they're bulky. They're almost like, they're not 3mm, 4mm wetsuits, or I certainly hope that they are not. Surely they have to be like a 6mm wetsuit or something. It's utterly insane that it's not even more covered, I don't know, around the eyes or whatever it may be. But like you said, just to be experiencing the negative side, being hypothermic of surfing, then makes you experience and appreciate just everyday life. It honestly just makes sense when he says that it becomes his medicine, it becomes his therapy and all of that kind of stuff. He can just go out there, have this awesome experience, be physical and all of that, enjoy this love that he found in Japan, and then also just have the more spiritual side as well just be generated. Regardless though, the fact that they have managed to get more people out and surfing in this kind of weather is astonishing. I guess each to their own. Everyone, I mean, if they love it, I'm sure more people are going to love it, but there is only ever going to be a certain percentage, a minute percentage of the population of your relatively small town that can, well, one, take the physical demands of it, and two, enjoy the mental side of it.
So now all of a sudden, I'm grateful for those warm, boring times where I felt restless. Now I'm really grateful for a hot shower, a comfortable chair to sit in. And surfing in this cold weather and that, it brings it back into perspective for me. I don't really know what a legend is. It's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I'm not trying to live up to that. I'm just being me because I think the fun stuff we do is so unique that it seems legendary to people. When to me, it's kind of like normal. You can look at us and say, oh, they're not that great of surfers, or those waves aren't really that good, but it gets real out there and it can be very dangerous. But I think that's part of the draw for me. Sometimes I get to the brink of death, but it really makes me feel alive. As much as it almost kills me, it's really given me more of a purpose.
Man, that's a serious statement to make. Like I said, I guess to some degree you would have to be an adrenaline junkie, whether that comes from the near-death experiences or even just the cold shock or whatever it may be, the enjoyment of the surfing, even if you're saying that, oh, I'm not that good. I'm sure you're plenty good, especially considering if people are comparing it to surfing in some ultra salty waters and then you're going and surfing on Lake Superior and you don't have a shortboard, so you can't be ripping it left, right, and center, whatever it may be. There are so many things that he goes, yes, I don't know what a legend is, but regardless of what the definition of a legend is, I think he definitely is a legend. For one, like you said, the fire chief said that he's one of the most valuable resources that they have. That in itself is just an awesome achievement, whatever you want to be calling it. You're just like, wow, I am the guy that can deal with this. I know all the different aspects. I can read the ocean, so to say. When people go, oh, I need to read the rips and I need to read the this, he can read the lake. And he's so entwined with the lake, even to the point where they can surf in slushies. I'm amazed by that. I mean, I guess it's just flotation and you still have the waves pushing you along, but it's a semi-solid at that point. Like you were falling or surfing on a slushy, which I never would have thought would have been possible. I mean, I would love to know why there is this perfect line here where it's seemingly all washed in. Is it just because it becomes shallow enough where it can kind of freeze, but that's where all the waves are washing in, so maybe it's just pushing ice from out in a drift? I have no idea. There is so much of this that is so alien to me, and I'm sure plenty of people. This is not for the faint of heart, and not for the person that doesn't want to experience something different. That's for sure. So as much as this kind of imagery is what originally draws people in from being the local and now, I guess, international legends where you can just see that and go, what is that? Is it foam? Is it glue? No, it's ice. It's ice in the hair and ice in the beard. And that really just opens up a can of worms as to so many other questions for so many other people. Like I said, from warm countries to cold countries, I'm sure it provokes the same kind of imagery going, what are you doing? But that isn't why they are doing it at all. It is just a mere off-cut of the entire real reason. And yes, they do have their social media that they are taking videos and probably growing, but that's probably just so they can try and spend more time in the lake. I was about to say ocean there, but no, in the lake for as long as possible. Enjoying the experiences, both mental and physical, and the challenges that come along with that, saving a few people along the way. There's so much positivity, and if he's saying that he's gained infinite more time on his life, then there's more power to you.